Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show!
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
Second and goal. Pass. Got it. Touchdown. This guy has had some year.
Al, I've got to tell you, in a pressure situation, I don't know if I have ever seen anybody be better than Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Wow, what a drive.
4th and 1. Burrow trying to keep it going, gets spun down, gets it away, and incomplete. Rams now running down to celebrate with a defensive play.
And guess who?
Of course.
I mean, you don't even have to think about it.
Pointing to the ring finger.
When everything was on the line for the Rams, yes, we know it was Aaron Donald.
But the Rams were built to win the Super Bowl, and they have sealed the deal.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays, and here with me, as he always is my co-host, Justin Raffoff.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
We have already started our game in NCAA Football 14 Dynasty mode. Again, if you're just joining us for the first time, or if you're back and maybe you forgot, we're in year 3 with the Florida Atlantic Owls. Technically, calendar-wise, we're in the year 2015, and we're 8-2 after 5 weeks of dual games for us here on the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. We are playing North Texas, ranked 14th overall, and we started already because we're trying to make sure that we can get this all done in our normal hour time slot. So let me pull up this so you can see Justin is on defense at the moment. But we need to rebound after a couple losses over the last 2 weeks. We had that big win 2 weeks ago against Georgia and then laid an egg in the next game. And then we started last week and lost again. So we had been ranked as high as 4 in the nation. And now we're at 20. So this is a big game against North Texas. We need to win this game for a hope at conference championship.
Right.
And we're going to be talking a variety of topics like we have been over the last few weeks while we played this game. Justin, I think maybe first up, why don't we put a pin in the 2022 NCAA men's tournament. Since our last show, we've had a champion crown, and we know who won our bracket challenge.
Yeah, and we had the national championship game was on Monday night. I believe tip-off was at like 9:20 something.
Yeah, so I saw all of 0 seconds
and
of it.
it's like that every year. Like,
Amazes me that they continue to do that.
Right, I just don't understand. And that's really late. But whatever. It works for them. I never saw, but I'm sure it was just a massive number for Saturday night's Duke-UNC game.
I haven't seen numbers.
But I would imagine, I don't know. Kansas-UNC is probably going to draw a good number anyway for the national championship.
Those are blue bloods there.
So it was good. UNC was up 15 at halftime, and then Kansas, much like their Elite Eight game against Miami, where they did not look good in the first half and then came out and just lit it up in the second half. And Kansas ran away with it. I know they won by 4, but they
looked good in the second half. They
had a really dominant stretch in the second half. Like the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, they just absolutely dominated. And and won it. And yours truly picked Kansas to win. So
And you ended up finishing number one in our
I finished
bracket
number
challenge.
one in the bracket challenge. Like anything else, sponsors of it aside, there was another winner in terms of someone else picked Kansas.
Yeah, so this isn't the first year that one of our brackets has won it. We've come up on top a couple times, each of us. The control pick, the chalk pick bracket that I always put out has won in the past. But we always, those are discounted. Like if the hosts win, the control brackets win. Those don't count. We want a true winner. We want someone who joined the bracket challenge to come out on top.
Also, I don't need to pick a topic for the show. We kind of have that covered.
Right, we pretty much do that every week.
And I have show shirts, so
Yeah, you don't need any of that stuff.
yeah.
So our winner was Andy Hoffert. He also picked Kansas to win. He finished in second overall, but the number one on top, right behind Justin. So I already gave him his shirt. I posted that on the page. He stopped by the sandwich shop last week, gave him the shirt. We're in discussions about it if he wants to come on the show. At the least, he can pick a topic for us to talk about if he doesn't want to come on the show. But we hope he chooses to come on with us. So it's always fun to have new guests come on to talk sports. And just am thankful that it was him and not my sister.
Yes.
Because she once again was in the running, and she miraculously had North Carolina. And when I went to bed, or just after I had gone to bed, it was right around halftime. My dad texted me, asked if I was sweating yet. Of course, I didn't see that till I woke up because the game starts at such a ridiculous hour. And when I woke up, I saw Kansas won, and quickly looked to see that they were down by, like Justin mentioned, 15 at halftime. I think they were down as many as 16 at one point.
Corinne was probably picking out her topic already.
Oh, she already knows her topic. She wants a part 2 of the hottest male athletes, which we did, I believe, when I talked to her about it the day of the game last week, was the 6th-year anniversary of that show. So we avoided that, thankfully. We're not going to have to talk about that. But congratulations again to Andy. Thanks for participating to everyone. We had 59 brackets entered, which I think is our second most ever. One year we got into the 60s. This year we had 59. I actually did rebound myself. My personal bracket ended up finishing 10th because I had Kansas playing in the final, however, falling to Gonzaga. But I ended up winning the bracket challenge through the sandwich shop. So I'm happy about that I climbed up. People were like, no way you won. You were doing awful. And you're like, I was doing awful at the beginning. But because I had Kansas going to the final, it just kept bumping up, and I ended up winning. So I'll take that.
The last 2 times Kansas has won, which I believe was 2006 and this year, I had picked them both years.
You were ride or die, huh?
Yeah.
You went strong with the Jayhawks.
Oh, you know what?
Chalk.
No, wait. It must not have been 2006. It must have been a different year because I saw them play in maybe the fall of 2009 or like the winter of 2009. I'm trying to think. And I was like, after I saw them play, I was like, well, they're not going to win the national championship. It was December. I was like, they're good, but they're not that good. And they won.
Well, there you go. I'm trying to look it up to see. So 2006 was Florida.
Okay. Then
Joaquin Noah.
Yeah, oh, man. So, yeah, I think it would have been like 2010 then, probably something like that. But, yeah, I mean, Kansas, don't get me wrong. I brought this up when they were playing Miami. And like I said, I picked Kansas to win. But something just felt weird about picking Kansas because they are so deep into that Adidas scandal.
Right.
And so and Miami's name has been floated around with that as well. But Miami was kind of more on the fringe of that.
Kansas was
right
in there.
When they won and it became their 4th national title, somebody goes, that's just one fewer than the major violations they are currently being investigated for. So like, and all that stuff is weird because yes, they are probably paying recruits to come there, but at the same time, like they still were the best team out there.
Right.
I don't. We saw that game, Kansas played really well down the stretch of the season, and good for them. And we'll kind of see how it goes. But
my favorite, and this is not just college basketball, this is any sport, is the talking head and the prognosticators that insist on putting the nail in the coffins of teams that have an entire half of gameplay to go. Yeah. Especially like our buddy Paul Roberts likes to say, and then this is an NBA thing, but every team makes a run.
Yeah.
And there was multiple times throughout the tournament, not only did that happen, but Kansas did it.
Right. Just if you've seen any of their games.
So should we be surprised?
It's one of those things where, going to another one of our buddies, like Dustin Miller brings this up with a lot of times, like you can tell sometimes when you get on these big spotlight games how few people have actually watched that team's games like throughout the year. Like just on the things they'll say, you're like, no, like they clearly haven't seen them play a whole lot. You know what I mean? And I feel like Dustin's really good at pointing that out, but like it's so true. Sometimes you can just tell like, oh, they haven't seen this team play at all. Now, to be honest, in college basketball, but the difference is I don't go around claiming I've seen all the, speaking to it because like, I don't know. Honestly, I've probably watched less and less college basketball over the last few years. And it's not that I don't like college basketball. It's just, I don't know.
No, I've definitely watched less and less.
And to be honest, I don't think it's because of this, but as the Sixers have gotten better, like I've watched more of the Sixers. Not that I'm like tuning in every night kind of thing for the Sixers, because it's not that at all. But like I've watched more Sixers, in the last few years than I've watched college basketball, and for a long time that there was no way that would have even been
no
close,
way that was
you know
true.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, in college we watched a lot of NBA basketball because LeBron was young and with the Cavs, and I lived with some like people from the Cleveland area.
Right. Huge deal.
Right. So, they used to go and see LeBron in high school like we would watch Lonnie in high school. Like one of those kind of things. So it is cool. It's just cool to kind of like see those big basketball moments as college, because like the tournament, while I said I've watched less and less, I obviously tournament time you still get real excited and love to go and get all that stuff. So so great college tournament. I know this isn't what we were talking about, but I sent this to you earlier in the week that the women's NCAA championship
huge
when ESPN was the most watched ESPN game, college basketball game, men's or women's, since like 2008 or something like that, which is
oh my gosh,
incredible.
I just missed the extra point because I flicked I missed the oh boy, I hope that doesn't come back to haunt us. Oh gosh, it was bound to happen, right? Yeah, so great tournaments all around. Really cool to have the women's field have such a big success with the ratings. I mean, we talked about that when we were doing Olympics coverage. The ratings for the women's hockey games were huge, stratospheric numbers for hockey, beating out NHL games, beating out NBA games. So there's definitely an audience out there. But again, I feel like a lot of these now. I don't believe the women's basketball championship was during our show last Sunday, I believe.
It was. It
Relatively
came on at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock last Sunday.
But we talked about the women's Olympic hockey. USA Canada started at 11:10.
Right.
And that the number for that was still huge.
Yeah.
So I really wish they would have moved those start times to make it a little bit more acceptable. But again, thanks to everyone who joined the bracket challenge and played along with us. I hope everyone had fun. We always look forward to this time of year for that. We appreciate the support. But I think that probably the controller issue again. that probably is the end of our college basketball talk till next March, essentially. We'll probably talk NBA off and on when we're on the show. The availability of us over the next few months is kind of sparse as we throw in Bulldog Hour and also have vacations and things like that. So we'll have to keep everyone updated as to how we're handling our schedule. But we are going to be doing a full NFL preview. Don't worry about that. That'll be coming up before you know it. But Justin, was there any NFL news this week we wanted to touch on?
Was the Eagles trade of draft picks this week? I think it was.
Was it at the beginning of the week?
I think it was at the beginning of the week. So,
okay.
The Eagles moved around some draft picks. They technically traded 2 of their first round picks this year for a first round this year and a first round next year. So instead of picking like 15, 16, and 19 or something this year, they're 15 and 18. And then they've got a first round next year and a second round in 2024.
Yeah.
Plus, I think instead of having 5 picks in the top 100 this year, they have 5 picks in the top 101 or something like that. Like it's almost, I mean, it is one less first round pick this year.
Right, but they were able to pick up one next year and
a second the year after that, and yeah, I'm in favor of it. I know some people are like, oh, here's the thing, like,
it's tough to use 3 first-round picks because
you'd have to pay them.
Right.
Like, you don't get to negotiate. Like, you'd have to pay 3 first-round guys. In 4 years, or in 3 years, you'd have to decide on 5th-year options for 3 guys, and then you'd have to pay those 3 guys. Like, it's tough. It does spread it out. It does give them some options next year. I know there's some people who aren't convinced that they don't package the 2 first rounds this year to try and move up and get
oh my gosh.
Maybe the kid from Notre Dame or or the kid from Cincinnati.
Desmond Ridder?
No.
Oh,
sorry,
you're talking next year.
No, secondary guys.
Oh, secondary.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
like
the cornerback or from Cincinnati, is it that?
Oh, Sauce Gardner.
Right. Or I forget the kid from Notre Dame is like Kyle Hamilton or something like that.
Oh yeah, the safety.
Yeah, like. And I love those guys, but I kind of would like them to pick at 15 and 18 and just kind of take the best of what's available when we're at 15 and 18. But I like that they've added some. They'll have 2 first-round picks next year when it's a deeper quarterback class. If that's the case. Like, don't get me wrong. My ideal situation would be Jalen Hurts wraps up that job this year.
Right.
That
so
would
you don't
be
have to worry about
the best case scenario is Jalen Hurts makes more progress this year, and they're not in the market for a quarterback next year. That would be the ideal situation. It's the NFL, and it's Howie Roseman, so who knows what's going to happen there. Like, maybe they'll take someone this year, but...
Quarterback factory.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Howie doesn't really ever... publicly admit being wrong often. He did say he wish he hadn't said that, which is not that he doesn't think it's true,
right?
But but there's a difference. You can do it without saying.
We've seen a lot of things over the last few weeks, months, years, decades, millennium of you can think that and say it to people you trust because they'll get it, but you probably shouldn't put that out there in public.
Right. So, yeah, ideally, Jalen Hurts wraps the job up this year, and the Eagles can continue to use that draft capital to build around him. That would be incredible. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm not entirely confident that that's going to be how it works out, but I don't think it's impossible either. Does that make sense? Like,
right. No, I'm with you.
I
like the trade. I know a lot of Eagles fans were excited about 3 first-round picks, but I just think that's
I don't know that I said it to you, but I had said it to multiple people. Like, there was no way Howie was going to draft 3 guys within 4 picks in.
Right, he was either going to trade up or trade down anyways.
Right, like there was no way they were going to draft 3 guys in those 3 spots. Like, just wasn't going to happen, and no team would. Like,
here's a question for you, since we don't have a ton to talk about. and I know we haven't gotten into covering the NFL draft, and I don't know if we'll get to do that ahead of time anyways, but is there a prospect out you hope the Eagles get or would have wanted them to trade up for?
Well, so here's the thing. The things I've heard and seen about those two guys, Sauce Williams? Sauce Gardner and Kyle Hamilton, right? I think from Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's Kyle Hamilton, yep.
Like, they seem to be potentially like franchise guys. So I look at it like this. Last year, and I knew the Eagles wouldn't get him because they were going to pick a wide receiver. And that worked out well. But Patrick Surtain going to Denver, and he was incredible this year.
Should I go for 2 here or kick the extra
I would just
point?
kick it. I would just kick it.
I won't mess it up this time.
And
there we go. What is going on with this thing? And you said last week that it wasn't the batteries, right?
right, I checked it was like half. The batteries were still half.
It's super annoying.
But they so like I would love those guys, but I don't want to spend 2 firsts on them. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I feel like the Eagles have enough needs and can build up a young core. Like and here's where I don't know that it might be a stretch based on where I had seen him before, but like someone like Nakobe Dean, like a legit linebacker bringing in, I would love that.
Right.
They brought in is it Kaiser White or something like that?
Yeah.
So like I also look at the Eagles, they just don't value that position. So to bring in a free agent and draft someone there, I find that unlikely.
Right.
But I think that would be really good. Like, I know this sounds crazy because they were kind of in place, and honestly, they've got some young guys there who are still working their way in, but you can never have enough offensive linemen. So if someone's there, but I'd rather get like defensive help, either pass rusher and a linebacker or secondary and a linebacker with those 2 picks. I'd be perfectly fine with that. And they don't have to be like trendy picks, but guys that can contribute this year. And, if you need your first round guys to be basically Pro Bowl guys, right?
You need them to perform immediately.
Right.
You have to hit on those. So before we continue NFL talk, I do want to mention the people that are listening to us live, including our bracket winner, Andy, and the bracket loser, Corinne. No Hottest Athletes Part 2 from her, but apparently she's given Andy ideas. So this is all bad for us, no matter what.
I do not like how this is going.
I also do want to bring up and point out that I did mention every time on this show,
I feel like,
and when I shared this, that the topic has to have an approval of both Justin and I.
I feel like if the topic isn't where we want it, then we disqualify Andy based on Jacob's bracket name.
Right? Exactly. Here's something nice to begin with.
How that works.
There's a relationship, a correlation there that could have him be disqualified.
However, I'm not sure there could be things that would be much funnier than Andy joining us for a show where Corinne picked the topic. Like I feel like it would add to the comedic value. So
yeah, because we could take the angle like we did last time where we talk about their athletic prowess. However, he would have to comment about their physical appearance.
So also
be careful what you wish for, Andy.
Yeah. So also, just as the reaction, I did not stay up for the end of the game last week. When I woke up, actually, Jamie told me in the middle of the night. She's like, Kansas won. You won the bracket thing, which we knew. Like if Kansas won,
which she probably said with a lot of disdain.
But then in the morning, she absolutely did. And then in the morning, when she like looked at it more closely, she was like, "What? Andy jumped me too?" Like she was not pleased about that.
This is really annoying.
Which that's how it goes when you're good at picking like Andy and I are. Like that's just how it goes.
That might have been a bad idea. Now I can't get it to turn on at all.
It went from annoying to worse.
Yeah. So I actually think I might have batteries back there, or I gotta go upstairs and throw a big wrench into this production here.
Oh gosh. So, yeah. I kind of like what the Eagles did. I know some people kind of picked Nakobe I had seen the Kobe Dean.
Oh God, I'm wrecking everything.
It's that spot.
Oh God.
It's that spot.
Oh jeez. I'm
That's
pulling it, Justin.
that's what I do when I'm in that area. I had seen people pick Nakobe Dean like kind of in the 20s range, like basically the playoff teams, which is where the Eagles were. But
Oh, that's right. They were.
yeah, that's right. They were a playoff team.
All right.
That's right.
That seems to have solved it for now.
So we'll see, but I just feel like if there's any fireman from Canada, that's how he's going to go with. So
You would never let Danny Watkins live that down, huh?
listen, I will let Danny Watkins live it down. I have nothing against Danny Watkins. He seems to be a stand-up guy. I mean, he's a
fireman.
right. He's a public servant. I'm all for Danny Watkins. I'm not for drafting him in the first round.
No?
That was the mistake. But
You're saying that.
now I say that, arguably the Eagles' second best lineman is the rugby player who never played football. And they just turned him into a great tackle. So
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see. Eagles are an interesting team just because, while I obviously want them to be really good, I'm not sure that there's anything they could do prior to the season that would have me think that they're going to win the East. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I still think Dallas has to be favored to win the East.
Oh, great. So not only are we down our running back, now our quarterback is injured.
Well, the good news is there's only 2 minutes left.
Right. Yeah, but what's the injury for long term?
Well, that's hopefully not even a problem for future Joey and Justin. But yeah,
That wide receiver could have blocked.
I don't know that there's any other NFL news though.
Yeah, I feel like it was for the first time in 5-6 weeks. It was quiet.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, unfortunately, we had the tragedy
Oh yeah.
of Dwayne Haskins passing away,
that was
which
awful.
that was abrupt and out of nowhere, and not any news anyone ever wants to be told at
Right.
any point for someone that young. Just awful. Just awful.
Yeah, that's terrible.
All right, so it's not a long-term injury for
Okay.
our quarterback. It's just a bruised shoulder. He could have played the rest of the game, but why? What's the point?
Yeah.
So we're gonna finish this game strong, hopefully, and come back in our next game. And I don't know if our next game's against FIU or not, but hopefully,
I think it is. 'Cause
hopefully
I think
FIU has lost,
I
so
think
that
that's our rivalry.
we
game.
could beat them in the conference. We could beat them to go to the conference championship game. If they didn't lose, us beating them, I don't think makes any difference. Whoa, that guy just got blown up. Hey, you're losing 20-0 and celebrating a tackle. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
It adds to the realistic.
Well, no,
nature
the
of
realism
game.
is there because people do that all the time. It's like, you are losing. Why are you celebrating what essentially is a meaningful tackle? And it happens at all levels. Unfortunately, it's trickled down at the high school. I'm just like, what are you celebrating? You're losing. You are losing. Oh, just awful. Just awful. Not really anything interesting in hockey to talk about, at least from a Flyers perspective. NBA, the Sixers, are they playing right now?
They are, but they sat the big guys tonight.
Okay, it didn't matter, I don't think.
No, it doesn't.
So.
And technically, if Luka Doncic scored 167 points tonight, he would win the scoring title.
Oh.
However, Embiid became the first center since Shaq 22 years ago to win the scoring title, and only the fourth since 1980.
Fourth, yeah, in the last
win it.
40-plus years.
And I think only the fourth player to ever have, or the number of 40.10 rebound games, and it's just an absolutely amazing season.
But don't worry, he's not the MVP.
He's not going to win MVP. The guy in Denver is going to win it, a Joker, and that like he's very good, but I don't believe it. I think they're going to lose in the first round, the Nuggets that is, and I this is my hope. I hope that it like becomes. Now here's the thing: they don't announce it right away, but I hope it becomes this rallying cry and like the Nuggets go out in the first round and the Sixers are there in the NBA Finals and they announce that they that Embiid doesn't get it, but he's on this tear and wins Finals MVP.
Yeah, there
like,
you go.
Can you imagine how awesome that would be? Like,
That's one way to make up for it.
Right. But he's the best center in the league, and yeah. So, just hopefully they can make a good run here in the playoffs.
So,
it's gonna be
do we know their first round opponent?
Toronto.
It is for sure.
Yeah, I believe it's gonna be Toronto.
So what's going on with Matisse?
So the Sixers are home
for the first two games.
For the first two games, so they'll have. But Matisse Thybulle won't be able to play in.
Do they do 2-3-2 or are they 2-2-1-1-1?
I think they go 2-2-1-1-1 now. I think.
Okay.
But he won't be allowed to even go. Like it's not like you can't play. Like he can't go into the country.
Oh my gosh!
You got basically like this is one of those you can't split those first. You need to win those first two games.
So are the Sixers the 4?
They're the 4. Now they're the 4, but the top 4 teams were all within 2.5 games of each other. But
I was gonna say I'm a little surprised that they didn't make it up into the 2 or the 3.
Well, they could have been the 3 today if they win and Boston lost, but like they just rested the guys because it doesn't. And here you go. Being the 4, in theory, you could avoid the Bucks and the Nets until the finals potentially, or to the conference finals.
Isn't Brooklyn in the play-in round?
They are, but they're going to be the 7. So if
they win,
right? Right. So if they win their first one, they would be on that side. If they lose, then they still have another shot because the way the play-in works. So the 7 plays 8. Winner is in as the 7. Loser of that game plays the winner of the 9-10, and the winner of that.
Right, that's how that works.
So the winner of that game 3 basically becomes the 8 seed. Now, my ideal situation would be for the Cavs to beat the Nets, and then the Nets to lose to like the Hornets or someone, whoever, in that 8, and they're just done. That's not going to happen. The Nets are not going to lose 2 win or go home games. Well, I guess they wouldn't technically be win or go home, but they aren't going to lose 2 games in a row like that.
How great would it be if they did?
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic. And even if they lost and then won, so if they lose to the Cavs, is who they're going to play in that 7-8 game, then they would probably win that next game. But then they have to play the Heat, who are the 1 seed, and okay, so just picture Jimmy Butler giving Ben Simmons a hard time the entire time. Like that whole series.
Is Ben Simmons even going to play?
Well, so that he may be available for the first round. Not the play-ins, but the first round. Can you imagine, though, if he comes back and doesn't play well, or if he doesn't come back and they're out, like, because he doesn't play in the playing games?
Just rough. Just rough all around. Yeah, I mean, he brought it all on himself.
Hate to see it, yep. But, yeah, so, be interesting. I mean, the Sixers is one of those where, look, if you're a legit team, you can't. It shouldn't matter, right? Like,
right.
You got to win your games.
You're gonna have to beat good teams to win the championship.
Right, you're gonna have to be good teams to make it. Honestly, like, I feel like this team could make the NBA Finals.
They could also lose in the second round.
They could lose in the first round. If they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I would say that's about where I'd put them right now. Like right now, I feel like the Bucks and Nets are probably both better than the Sixers. Like at this moment. So,
you think they're better than the Heat?
I think they are better than the Heat. I don't know that they would do it over 7 games, but I think they are better than the Heat. But, I mean, we'll see.
So this is our senior night. It's our rival game against FIU. We're ranked 15th. They're ranked 16th. I think if we beat them, we'll go to the conference championship game. I think they have a loss now. Maybe it wasn't in conference play, and this doesn't matter. I don't know.
Well, whatever. We got to beat them anyway, right?
So this one's for it all. Our running back and quarterback are back. I definitely am not running as well with him this year. I think I was almost at 2,000 yards last year. Now we played what? How many games did we play? 15?
I think so. I think we played 14, right?
14? We're 12-2? Or no, last year we were 13-1 or 14-1, right?
Yeah. All right. So do we want to move on to baseball then?
Yeah, let's talk baseball.
All right. So
We got opening day, opening night, opening
Right.
week.
Phillies
we got
had a
series in.
Phillies had a tough one today. However, they started out 2-1. Win the series against the A's. Bats were alive the first 2 days. Today they were not so much. Today was not a great weather day. Just cold and windy. But, and I know this will sound crazy, but they hit the ball hard today a few times, and it just was right at guys and things like that. And that's going to happen. But it's been good to see guys hitting the ball. It's been good to see them just seemingly having a lot of fun the first few games. So.
Yeah, the first 2 games were a lot of fun. They looked good offensively, then gave up some runs, but were able to fight their way to a win in the first game. Then the second game, not as successful on offense, but better pitching all around to win. What was it, 4-2?
Yes.
But then today, despite a good first start from Zach Eflin, he went 4 innings, didn't give him any runs. I don't. Giving up 4 runs over, 5 innings isn't. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing. Your offense got to perform, and they didn't perform today.
No, they didn't.
But like you said, they hit the ball, but it was right at people. They were making contact, but it wasn't finding gaps or holes in the defense.
Right.
So, as much as I wanted to sweep a team like Oakland, who was probably a bottom 5 team in the majors,
Right.
they got off to the start they needed to because it could have been way worse. If you were looking at an 0-3 hole, how awful would that be?
Yeah, it'd be real bad.
To start this season
Right.
with
Or
the
even 1-2.
expectations.
You go 1-2, and you look at it, our top pitcher isn't back yet, So I was pleased with the 2 out of 3. We talk about that win series. You'll see a lot more. I'd love for them to win the series against the Mets. They win the series against the Mets. Man, I'm going to start to get real excited. But
Right.
I've been so excited about baseball just being back.
All right. Let's change this here. Yeah, baseball's back, thankfully. Worked out well. Huge weekend. Great introduction from the new Phillies guys. Schwarber led off the first game with a home run. Castellanos had a home run yesterday. Great outings by Nola, Gibson, and Eflin. We haven't even gotten to see Wheeler yet, so hopefully the starting pitching and the offense is enough for this team to win 85 to 90 games. That's Justin and I both kind of laid that out last week. We were hopeful that the Phillies would be pushing for that wild card, one of the wild card spots, and we'll see.
Yeah, I went on the record this week with a friend of mine. He had posted his predictions, and my prediction was Dodgers over White Sox in the World Series.
Over White Sox, okay.
Yeah, so it's just kind of how I think that's going to unfold, but it's not really going out on a limb. The White Sox should be pretty good, and their division isn't necessarily all that strong, so the Twins could be all right, but the Guardians are not going to be good.
Not good, huh?
And the Royals won't be good. Although the Royals have that Witt Jr.
Bobby
whatever.
Witt Jr.
Yeah, who has made some crazy plays already. I don't know if you saw, but yesterday he made a diving stop towards the line. He's at third base. And then from his knee throws home and guns the guy out at home. Yeah, it was
I didn't see that.
heck of a play. And he had a big hit in the opener, and just stuff like that's awesome. Like, man, Kansas City's got to be excited. You have some young stars in football and some young stars in baseball, even though the team in baseball isn't all that good. But yeah, so I'm just excited that baseball's back.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know if you saw Shohei Ohtani today hit a ball. I think the exit velocity was 118 or 119.
Oh my gosh.
The hardest hit ball by a left-hander ever recorded.
Oh my
Now,
God.
again, they haven't. Exit velocity has only been measured.
Questionable play calling. Guards were terrible. They could have blown off the ball like that. That was pathetic.
All right, let's see. Let's just get a stop.
That's frustrating. That is frustrating. Shouldn't be hard to get 1 yard. So Shohei putting on a show again. I'm glad.
Man.
I'm glad it's starting out strong for him because my fear was that I didn't want him to become like a 1-year wonder.
Right.
Like I didn't want.
Right.
I wanted this to continue because it's so fun. It's so interesting. It's such a great storyline.
Well, and I was listening to this podcast last week, and they're talking about the effect that this may have. Like, if he can do it again this year, like, oh my gosh, the effect this could have. You could start seeing guys like
try and
do what he does. And maybe not to the extent, but like because of the universal DH,
there's more.
You
options.
might see guys that if they can hit, like let them hit. We'll see how that plays out, but it'll just be interesting and it's fun to watch. And my son, he loves Shohei, so.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. Like, I love that he gets into like players, around the league. Like he loves Reese Hoskins. He's also a big Didi Gregorius fan.
Didi.
Yeah, like just like, but like I like that. I love that he gets into it and likes specific players, and a lot of times I like those players too. So that's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I thought it was amusing to me when you texted me. Was that Friday night? You were at the Reading Phillies opener?
Yes.
And you were there with Wilson Youth Baseball, and you said you were sitting near or in front of the parents of Anthony Volpe.
I asked them that, and they're not. They kind of like alluded to they know him, but they're not.
Okay.
They weren't his family.
So
but like they
family
were
friends or something
very
like
vocal, and they like knew him and like knew everyone on the team. It seemed like, yeah.
Well, I said immediately, I was like, I know that name.
Right.
And I know that name from trading cards. And I immediately looked it up on eBay, and I sent you one of his autographed cards. It was a buy it now, so it doesn't mean it's sold for that. But they were asking $80,000. Yes, $80K. That you did not mishear.
And I looked up too, and one of the first article that pops up is, the Yankees didn't sign a free agent shortstop this year because this kid's going to be the next guy. And you're like, oh man, shortstop for the Yankees. It's
pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal. So. How did I know the Phillies lost?
Yeah, they got one hit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How did Volpe do?
He did really well.
He did really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Phillies farm system's not in great shape at the moment.
Which is why I'm glad that they're not trading for like big guys right now, because you can't deplete it more. You have to build it back up.
Right. So, yeah, exciting for baseball to be back. High hopes for the Phillies. I'm not saying like it's like World Series or bust or anything, but just like let's have a good year. Let's have a fun year. Let's make the playoffs. Let's build for the future, and maybe in the offseason do something to strengthen whatever our deficiencies are.
Exactly. And I feel like there's, to just go back to it, there's more urgency with the Sixers, but like I don't necessarily know that they're a championship team this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like be better than last year and then adjust some of the things that you need to, the pieces, the role players and things moving forward. And like you've got some pieces. You have Harden and you have Embiid and you have Tyrese Maxey. Maxey. So here you go. This is a crazy stat, and I think I might have sent it to you earlier this week. last year for qualifying players, so basically players that shot at least 100 three-point attempts.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
He ranked 264th or 246, something like that, in the league. Right. This year, out of qualifying players, he ranked like 4th.
Right.
Like in
What
shooting
a
percentage.
Huge improvement.
Insane. Like, well, against the Pacers on Tuesday, he made more threes in the first half than Ben Simmons made in his career. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just
Now, the
absurd.
Sixers did set a franchise record with 23 made three-pointers in that game.
Wow.
But he had 7 in the first half. Man, you love to see that.
Yes.
Man, just
I will take that.
another stud from Kentucky, man. We'll take him. Got a couple of those. All right, roll over for that first down.
That's right.
But yeah, so I'm excited for baseball. Again, I'm here for all the drama between the Nationals and the Mets.
Yep, sure.
You know,
That was going to be my next.
keep
next
hitting
thing.
guys. That's fine. Like, let's just
Get people ejected, have them
Right.
thrown out.
right. If you could have them suspended for when they play the Phillies, that would be even better.
I'm all for. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not going to cheer an injury, but
No.
it's obviously
Did
not
you
a bad
see-
thing for the Phillies that DeGrom is not
Right,
ready for them to go.
right. Did you see who's the slugger for them?
Alonzo.
Yeah, he got
Pete
hit in
Alonso?
the face.
Oh, did he? Like
Yeah.
Harper last year?
Yeah, like bloody lip. He stayed in the game though, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And then Lindor got hit in the head too. Like they hit 5 guys this weekend. They had 5 guys get hit, including 2 in the head.
Jeez.
Now someone got hit yesterday. And it was a curveball, and like you could tell, like, and to his credit, Buck Showalter, who's a baseball lifer,
Yeah.
he's like, look, we know that wasn't.
That was just a
that
slip.
was just a curveball that didn't break. You know, like you could tell because it's that looping kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of, it's tough because like as a pitcher, like you gotta throw the high fastball. You know what I mean?
Yep. You gotta.
But at the same time, like I feel like it's not wrong to feel like there is some kind of responsibility if you can't do that. Oh, what a catch!
Main pool.
If you can't control that
One-handed.
pitch, you can't throw that pitch. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're right.
because it's not like you're just missing. You're missing in somebody's head.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah. So, but yeah, man, I'm just excited. It's back.
I thought I was getting him.
I thought
He
you
got
had it,
lit
yeah.
up.
Yeah. So, man, it'll be interesting to see what the Phillies can do against the Mets, though. The
Yeah.
Mets,
Here's our
took 4
first
games
barometer.
against. They went 4-0 against the Nationals, I think.
Did the Mets sweep them?
I think so. Now the Nationals aren't supposed to be very good,
No, but still 4-0.
right? Without their top guys, the top pitcher.
Hey, that's fine. I'd rather the Mets start off strong and fizzle like they have been.
That would be
Like,
the best.
I'm
Can you
okay with
imagine
that.
if the Phillies did like the
The
come back from
07 again?
Oh my gosh, that was incredible.
You know, when that happened 15 years ago, Justin?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was reading the article about just like the different, how it's a different feel this year on opening day at Citizens Bank Park, and it just talked about how like when the park opened 17 years ago, I was like, oh.
Right, I remember going that first year.
Well,
too.
so here you go. Like,
Well, isn't it 18? Didn't it open in 04?
it may have, but there's all this stuff too. Well, like got on the topic with that as well. It's the 30th anniversary for Camden Yards this year. Yeah, and I'm like, that makes me like, I remember when Camden Yards was the new stadium. You know, like
Was the thing. Was that just a few years after or before the Ironman streak?
yes, because remember they would have
They
the
would
things
have the
on
numbers, the counting.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was really
Oh,
cool.
you've got to be kidding me. I was in prevent defense, and they complete the Hail Mary.
Nope. My dad says you know what happens when you play prevent defense.
Yes, except it wasn't like with lots of time left. It was just, oh my gosh.
On the last play of the half.
Yeah, 80
And,
yard
and
touchdown.
they get the ball back.
Yeah, 80-yard touchdown. I should just onside it. What's the worst thing that could happen?
The Sixers won.
Did they?
Yeah, 118-106.
Hey, what's the Boston score?
I will check.
Because if Boston loses, they're playing Memphis. But Memphis, I don't think, has anything to gain. I think Memphis is locked in as the 2 seed in the West.
The 76ers end the regular season with a 118-106 win over the Pistons. 25 points for Paul Reed. On to the playoffs.
Hey, Paul Reed has earned himself back into that playoff rotation, in my opinion. He
That
played
was
really
our
well last night,
buddy
too.
Paul Roberts. Who'd you say the Celtics are playing?
Memphis Grizzlies.
Celtics Grizzlies. Celtics are up by 24 with 3 minutes to play.
Ah, so we will be that 4 then. That's all right. If they would have lost and we won, I think we would have jumped to the 3.
To the 3.
All right, we need to stop. Come on.
I'm looking forward to some nicer weather here this week, Justin.
So I'm kind of split, and I know this sounds ridiculous. Like, yes, I want nicer weather. I want nicer weather.
Talk about user big hit.
But however, like, I'm kind of okay. Like, from a school standpoint, I'm okay with it being cool and dreary. Like, because as soon as that weather gets nice, man.
Oh, you lose the attention?
It is.
It's tough, huh?
Like, it's exactly what you would imagine. I love that throw him forward 3 yards tackle. That was great. As opposed to take his head off tackle the play before. All right, come on. But no, I would agree. I am what the heck? I'm ready for nicer weather. I saw like a lot of Southeast PA got a month's worth of rain this week.
Yeah, it was a pretty.
And it wasn't like all in like
moist
one
week,
big storm
sure.
or anything. Like, but it was just not pleasant.
No, it was bad, and I know the spring sports, the high school sports are, especially baseball, softball.
Yeah. Well, and then you mix it in,
struggling
like
to play games.
Started getting some random not rolling thunder, but we got some thunder on what was that, Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, like so, which was odd because it wasn't like warm, like it. I mean, I understand how it worked. There had to be some difference in air, around there somewhere, but.
Well, we can turn this into a atmospheric dynamics discussion if that's the direction we want to go.
So you're gonna have to carry the show more than you normally do.
You're gonna have to give me a second to get Kelly down here because you're gonna want her to discuss those topics more in depth than I, especially as I'm distracted watching this game and trying to come up with other discussion topics while we finish this game.
All right.
We're baseball. I'm happy it's back. Hockey is kind of in a no man's land with us because if it's not the Flyers, I don't have the same interest as I did growing up.
This is not good.
Basketball, we said our piece with both college and pro. Well, we can try to talk Masters, but I'm not a golf guy, so
okay.
I can't contribute much. But if you want to talk Masters, you feel free to do that.
Yeah. So, Scotty Scheffler won.
He was leading. Did he lead wire to wire?
I think he. I'm not sure he was in the lead after day one.
Okay.
He had a good day one, but I don't know that he was in the lead after day one. He
American.
may have been.
So he's American.
Yeah, and under 25. I think only the third or fourth guy under 25 to win the Masters. And so coming into today, or actually coming into yesterday, there had only ever been 6 guys who had led by 5 strokes going in after 36 holes, so after 2 days. The last 5 had all won the tournament, and the last one who didn't was in 1936.
Oh, my gosh.
So talk about some pressure. And, man, starting with, so things got off to a later start on Thursday morning because of some rain and storms that went through. And then the weather was nice, but as the greens dried out, and then the wind came through, and the wind pretty much stuck around. It was cold and windy, and you didn't see like the runaway scores pretty much other than Scheffler. Now, Rory McIlroy put up I think he shot a 64 today.
He's 64. Yeah, I did see that.
But like he played mediocre at best the rest of the tournament, so like he was still a top 5 finisher. But like, if he had one other good day, he would have been right there. But
right.
He was kind of middle of the pack for most of the tournament, and then lit it up. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I'm not gonna lie, like I tuned in those first couple of days to see Tiger, man. Like 14 months removed from almost losing his life and his leg, just insane. Like to walk that course and do that, you could see him hobbling, like. But you know that's just kind of how it goes. But didn't really have it and shot like 6 over yesterday and today, I think.
Yeah, he faded, but he started off strong.
But this is the first tournament back. Like, he hadn't played. So, it was just good to see him out there. And, man, it was... I would love to go to the Masters. I would absolutely love it. My in-laws went a number of years ago now. And my mother... Like, it doesn't surprise me at all. My father-in-law has worked some of the U.S. Opens and stuff like that. Like, so he is... Golf is his thing, right?
Yep.
So that's not at all a surprise. But for my mother-in-law, that's not necessarily her thing. But she really enjoyed the Masters. She's like, it's just so different. Like, it's like you hear all those people talk about how like, oh, it's just so crazy. You get onto the grounds and it's just so crazy. And she's like, it really is. It is that crazy. So, yeah, it would be really cool to go sometime, but man, like, I kind of feel like if I were to ever go, it would be like this year where it ends up being cold and windy, you know, like,
right.
Not like where it's beautiful. But hey, I'd take it.
It would be really I'm cool. Not a golf guy at all, but that's definitely something that I would be interested in.
Right,
too.
like that's
just
one of those things where like it's just so.
Well, it's like same thing like the Daytona 500,
right?
The Indianapolis
I have
500.
No interest. I shouldn't say I have no interest. I have very minimal interest in like the actual like race, but like I would love to just experience those, just because like they're experiential like things, you know.
They're big deals,
right? So it'll be cool to go to.
Get in the end zone. I'm wasting time.
And that Hail Mary is going to kill us.
What are you doing? Wasting time.
Touchdown, baby.
Go for 2.
We'll go for 2, then get the safety, and it's a tie game.
Right. All right, you need to stop.
And then on the free kick, we turn it into the field goal and we win. All right, time for a stop.
Time for a stop.
Turnover would be great.
Yeah, now I got to carry this conversation. I'm running low, bottom of the barrel here.
Oh, I thought he was running it out.
So, yeah, where do we want to go here? Let's see.
All right, here we go. We need to stop. Come on.
We need a stop. That's what you focus on the stop. So Penn State picked up a quarterback, another quarterback recruit, four-star quarterback Marcus Stokes. So I don't know if Penn State will be in the market for another quarterback in the class of 2023 after taking 2 last year, and 5-star Drew Alar and 3-star semi-local product Bo Pribula. But it seems like Yurcich is a great recruiter. I hope he can show this year that he's a great offensive mind like he has at other places. because we didn't see it much
Do you want me
last
to take
year.
a timeout here?
Sure. You just got to stop him now.
I know.
But
Well, and I saw somebody saying, they're like, look, I'm not saying this guy is Drew Alar, but they're like,
he could shoot
they
up to a
feel like it's
5-star.
one of those where he got in early. What the heck?
Things the computer does that no coach would do. Throw it on 3rd and 8 from their side of the field with under 2 minutes to play.
Well, that's why we should just turn it all over to AI anyway.
But Penn State's recruiting class overall is number 1 in the Big Ten. I think number 5 in the nation for 2023. Penn State had gone 2 months without a 2023 commit, but I mean, it's super early. Those guys Those guys won't sign until at the earliest December. Some of them could linger into February, but Penn State's shaping up to have another good recruiting class, and if they want to keep that momentum, they need to have a good season. It shapes up that they can do that because people don't think Auburn's going to be that strong this year. So hopefully
they downed it?
What did they do?
They downed it.
They downed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have any timeouts.
All right, well, here we go. 55 seconds.
Well, and it's going to be like 20.
Oh. I need to put Cam Jones back there at kick returner.
Yeah.
But Penn State starts the season on Thursday night at Purdue.
Yes.
So they got to win that game.
Yes.
That essentially was part of the trade that got, Joe Buck to go to
Yes.
away from Fox.
Yeah,
Penn State
and
somehow ended up in...
To ESPN that Fox got that game. Right, now the good news is we only need a field goal. The bad news is we have no timeouts.
Right.
20 seconds left.
Right. We got rough. This is rough. This isn't a great position for my slow plotting 2.5 yards in a...
This isn't really our style.
Oh, good. That's exactly what we needed. Hurry up.
I feel like the field goal is off the table.
You think? Of course. Awesome. That's fantastic.
Well, in true Penn State fashion, we've had a letdown year.
I just can't believe that they got a Hail Mary right before
Right.
half.
Right.
That's the second time that's happened in
And
this season.
I had like 4 guys there. Frustrating.
Yeah, we certainly are going the way of Penn State this last year. We started 6-0, and now we're 3-3 in the last 6.
But yeah, so I mean, I really have no idea what to expect from Penn State. The expectations being low. I feel like from the outside they're low. Inside there's always pressure, but out externally they're lower. Hey, you know what? They're gonna play enough good teams where they can win themselves into position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that, but
I mean, it's all on them. I can't say I know for sure how much some of the big teams have coming back, but Ohio State's always going to be up there. Is Michigan back completely? I don't know. We'll see. It's still weird to me that Jim Harbaugh was flirting with leaving after the year that.
Well, and they have a lot of turnover there too. So, Josh Gaddis left, didn't he?
Did he leave? If he did, I did not know that.
So maybe he didn't, but I know there was some talk of him potentially leaving. So maybe that's what it was, because it didn't go when Harbaugh was looking to leave. I guess Michigan didn't even really consider Gaddis as
You're
an
right.
option.
He did. He's the offensive coordinator at Miami.
Yeah, I thought he left. Yep. because he was kind of left in the dark, I think, by Harbaugh and the university on that whole thing. So, like, he just kind of was like, well, enough of this. So, like, I don't think they can replicate it. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be good, but, like, I don't think they'll be able to replicate what they did this past year.
Right.
Which was be good when Penn State and Ohio State aren't. Like, I don't think they'll be able to get that lucky again.
No, and I guess the team that interests me the most is Michigan State. Are they going to be able to perform?
Yeah. Well, see, and that's another interesting one because they did it with almost all transfers last year.
Right.
Like,
and especially the running back. He was the biggest one. He was such
I think
a huge
they
get
might
for
have had
them.
like 20 transfers last year. They had a ton.
Right. Are they going to able to maintain
Right.
that? And what's going to happen out west? Like, who's going to be the team to beat? Is it going to be Wisconsin? Is it going to be Iowa?
It's going to be Wisconsin and Iowa are going to be there.
Could Minnesota surprise?
No.
No. The Minnesota still bothers me from, was that now almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
Yep.
Because that kind of ended like Penn State's run in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Before the forgettable year of 2020, and 2021 was shaping up to be like, something that we thought was going to be fun and enjoyable, and then
Until that injury.
the Clifford injury at Iowa.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I'm obviously it's early April and we're talking ready for football.
If they could win at Purdue and then go to Auburn and win, well, sandwich with there's a home game in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But they could like start out with that. That would be really good. That would be really exciting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at quarterback, man. Like, I know Clifford's back, and it's hard just with that experience to beat that out. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yep.
They have to be able to run the ball better this year.
Oh, absolutely. They were the worst team. We talked about this last week. They were the worst team in yards after contact.
Right. Well, and I love seeing, like, a lot of the 2023 recruits, like, are linemen. Like, they've got a few big-time linemen coming in.
Yeah, they do.
I like some of the pieces. I don't know if he's gone anywhere, but I know that stud defensive lineman from West Virginia that's looking to transfer had gone up to Penn State to visit. That would be a huge transfer get like Arnold Ebiketie was last year for Penn State. Be able to get someone like that to step in would be really cool.
We're going back to the Hawaii Bowl,
Hey,
Justin,
right.
playing New Mexico State.
There are worse places to go than
on
the
Christmas
Hawaii
Eve.
Bowl. Yeah.
We were 4-0 out of conference, including a win over Georgia. We were 5-3 in Conference USA.
Well, Conference USA, man, that's the place to be.
It is.
It's the place to be.
All right. So, we're going to wrap up this episode. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, watching, and listening, whether it's live or after the fact. Obviously, Justin and I wish we could have performed a little bit better here of late.
Florida Atlantic fire us.
Yeah, right. We have one game left since we don't have the conference championship to play in. We only have the bowl game, which I just said we're playing in the Hawaii Bowl for the second time in 3 years. I don't know when we're going to get to do that. Our schedule is in flux and could be changing. So you just have to stay tuned to our social media accounts and just see when our next show is going to be. We're supposed to have a show, nothing next week. 2 weeks is supposed to be Bulldog Hour, and then the following Thursday, so not quite 3 weeks from now, is the first round of the NFL Draft, and we are going to do that live, the first round. Things could be changing and shifting with Bulldog Hour and with the draft coverage, so again, just pay attention to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show social media, or go to the website jmnjrradio.com, and all the info will be on there for you. Any last things to say? Any shout-outs or anything like that, Justin, you want to mention before we get out of here?
No.
Do want to say happy belated birthday to Jack Hill, celebrating a few days ago.
Oh, and Austin's will be before we come back.
Yeah, I was going to say happy early birthday to your son, Austin, celebrating in the next few weeks. And I do want to say good luck to my brother-in-law, Jason, who's going in for a surgery tomorrow, and just wish him well and hope everything goes well. And we'll be thinking of him. And yeah, I think that. Oh, happy birthday to my cousin Matt. Had a birthday yesterday. So hope everyone had a fantastic Palm Sunday, and hope everyone has a great week this coming week. Again, we're not around next Sunday. We'll be celebrating Easter with our families. But we will be back again with a couple shows, this show and Bulldog Hour, before the end of April. So I think that's everything. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again real soon.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.